It is 9 o'clock in the east, 6 o'clock in the west. We welcome you back to Newsmax TV's continuing coverage of America Votes 2016. I'm J.D. Hayworth. Now, here are the states that are closing their polls at this hour: Arizona, Colorado, Louisiana, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. The states that have been called by multiple media outlets for Donald Trump include Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, and Oklahoma. For Hillary Clinton, she has in her victory column Vermont, New Jersey, Illinois, Maryland, Delaware, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. We would welcome you to give us a call on what you are watching unfold tonight at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Let me again welcome in my Newsmax TV colleague from Newsmax New York, Steve Malzberg, and we are likewise joined from Newsmax Washington by pollster John Zogby. And we can welcome in via Skype Newsmax TV political analyst and presidential strategist Dick Morris. Dick, of course, also the New York Times best-selling author of Armageddon: How Trump Can Beat Hillary. Dick, first to you, the margin in Florida. You talked about it earlier. The counties that were still out seem to be populated with Republicans, and it appears that Mr. Trump is opening up a narrow but a stable lead. Your evaluation of the numbers in the Sunshine State thus far, Dick?
Well, nationally, it looks like Trump is doing very well. Not prepared yet to say that he's going to win, but getting closer. I think he's going to carry Florida. That lead, Karl Rove put it best. He said the early voting is counted first, and that's Democrat. And then the election day voting comes later. That's Republican. And then the panhandle, the central time zone, comes later still, and that's heavily Republican. And he's now got a 1.4 lead with over 90% counted. I think he's going to likely win Florida. And now in Ohio and North Carolina, both sources of tremendous concern to us an hour ago, he has gained steadily. Last I looked, he was 0.1% behind in Ohio and less than a point behind in North Carolina, having come back from 5 and 6 points behind. It looks, if those trends continue, like he may carry North Carolina and Ohio and Florida, probably Iowa, which is yet to close. That would put him at 258 electoral votes, the 206 that Romney carried, including North Carolina, 18 from Ohio, 6 from Iowa, and then Florida 29 would bring them up to 258. Now, to get to 270 for the remaining 12 electoral votes, he's got to win Colorado, which is 9 votes, and he may well be able to do that. That would put him at 267. And then to get the extra votes, New Hampshire with 4, Pennsylvania with 20, Nevada with 6, where he's been ahead throughout. That last brick, New Mexico with 5, that last brick to put him up to 270 is not quite there yet. But it looks to me as if he's going to get 200, and the exact number is 259 electoral votes by carrying Ohio, Iowa, North Carolina, and Florida. And then if he carries Colorado, 259 plus 9 is 268. One more vote and he ties it, and it goes to the House and he wins. More than one vote, he wins at the Electoral College. That's the state of play right now.
Dick, we should point out that according to the tabulations of the Fox News Channel, Mr. Trump has an electoral lead of 139 to 97. When you look at bumps in the road, and the early evaluation was that Mr. Trump has to run the table, and you talked about momentum in states like North Carolina and what we're seeing in Florida. Does Ohio loom as the pothole tonight for Mr. Trump?
Well, it did, but we're only 1/10 of a point behind now. And when you find somebody catching up like that, it probably means they're carrying the election day voter, having lost the early voter. Ohio looks all right for him. The bump that I see in the road is that once he gets to 258, which is Florida, Ohio, Iowa, and North Carolina, all under his belt, how does he get from 258 to 270? Colorado, with 9 votes, is a crucial element in that. If he's not going to carry Pennsylvania or Michigan, he's got to carry Colorado. And then he's within 1 or 2 votes, and then he could pick up that from a number of places.
Well, Dick.
And Dick, let me interject that the latest from Ohio, unless I'm misreading it, which I don't think I am, he now has a 2-point lead in Ohio, and he has taken a 0.1% lead in North Carolina as well.
But now bear in mind that Colorado is a vote-by-mail state, so everything's in right now. And I don't know if it's postmarked today, if it gets counted tomorrow or the next day. I don't know about that. But of the mail-in ballots, the Republicans have 7,000 more than the Democrats. And 20% of the vote in Colorado was unaffiliated. And 4 years ago, Romney carried the unaffiliateds by 4 points. So when you put together Republicans outvoting Democrats in the early going, and the unaffiliated voters 4 years ago having gone for Romney, you put together a probable victory in Colorado, which would put Trump at 268 electoral votes, needing 270.
Tantalizingly close there, Dick. I tell you what, we know you want to go continue to monitor the numbers. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to more of your insights. Dick Morris tonight via Skype. Let me turn to pollster John Zogby. John, as you sit there at Newsmax Washington and you listen to these litany of numbers, and there's Dick Morris doing the math in his head in terms of the route for the Electoral College, what are you thinking at this point in time tonight in this election?
I'm thinking momentum. I'm thinking that, if Donald Trump wins North Carolina, and it looks like he could very well be doing that, and wins Ohio as well, that sets the table for a win out west, maybe even one that wasn't expected. But it also means that perhaps Michigan and Pennsylvania are really in play. And I've got to say this, I think among the big winners tonight are the pre-election pollsters, who in many ways have gotten this right. The pre-election pollsters have called it a close race, not only nationwide, but in these key states. That's exactly what it is. The Real Clear Politics average going into Florida was 46.4 Trump, 46.2 Clinton. Boy, as these results have come in, margin of error notwithstanding, look at how close this is, and it looks like it's about going to be 46.4 to 46.2. And so, yay to my profession. But winning Florida, he is positioned to win Ohio. I think he will win North Carolina. I really want to see those numbers coming in from Pennsylvania. Remember, there's a transit strike going on in Philadelphia, and a lot of complaints by commuters that they couldn't get to work or get to the polls. Anything can happen here, and anything meaning a Donald Trump victory. I'm not predicting it. I've said right along, steadfastly, too close to call, but that narrow road that Donald Trump had to victory is just getting a little bit wider, I think.
Well, this situation.
A lot of metaphors, huh?
Boy, I tell you, it's amazing to watch. Steve Malzberg, we just heard John Zogby talk about Pennsylvania. And I guess the line was from James Carville. You've got Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and in the middle of the state you got Alabama. I mean, the conservative part of central Pennsylvania, and this is a day of vote. Now, as I listened to John talk about the transit strike, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought I heard they settled it yesterday, but still it might have been tough to get all the buses and the trains and everybody in the right place today. And this vote today in Pennsylvania, boy, it's almost like baking a cake, and it appears that Donald Trump, here's another overused analogy, he's baking a cake. What ingredient is he missing at this hour, Steve Malzberg?
I don't know. Maybe I've never baked a cake, so I can't tell. Chocolate. You can never go wrong with chocolate and frosting. But look, look where Hillary chose to put her energies and hold a massive rally outside Independence Hall. And look who showed up, the Obamas, Bruce Springsteen, everybody. I mean, if they felt they had Pennsylvania in the bag, if they felt they could count on the Obama coalition to come out and do it again, they wouldn't have been there. They would have been somewhere else. So it's in play. It's way early. The results have been very slow in coming in. Like you said, there are a lot of parts to Pennsylvania, but there's one part that is Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama territory. And if she doesn't, do as well as he did in that part, look, another thing is I have truck drivers that tell me all the time if I'm doing talk radio or if they call the show here on Newsmax TV and they say, 4 years ago, 8 years ago, I saw Obama signs. And now in these same places in Pennsylvania, I see Trump signs. So that could be problematic for Hillary.
Yeah, and
JD, can I add something?
Yes, absolutely, John. The floor is yours,
Yep,
sir.
I was at a British network just a little while ago doing some TV, and I saw a video statement by the president in which he said, the road ahead may be long and it may be rough. That didn't sound like a victory celebratory statement coming from the president.
I am getting some more results in as we continue tonight. Here are the projections from Fox News. Texas, Kansas, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wyoming, all in the Trump column. That is not a great surprise. It is what the elites have called flyover country. But Texas, John Zogby, what was it? 2 weeks ago, we heard the Lone Star State was going to be targeted by the Democrats. And of course, as we just pointed out, Pennsylvania, that's where all the heavy hitters, including Mr. and Mrs. Obama and Mr. and Mrs. Clinton, closed out the campaign in Philly. Final 30 seconds to you, John Zogby.
They're worried. This is too close to call. We may not know who the next president of the United States is when we go to bed or if we go to bed tonight.
Well, I'm all for staying up and continuing our coverage, and we would welcome you back anytime, John Zogby, even as you share your wisdom and knowledge with our British cousins on another frequency. Thanks very much for your time. There is lots more to talk about, including this question to you. We'd like to know who you voted for. Log in and let us know at newsmaxpolls.com. There is more ahead as Newsmax TV's special election coverage of America Votes 2016 rolls on.